Hey guys, Shannon here with Got to Go Prepared. Stay tuned, we're going to talk a little bit about archery, one of my passions. Hey guys, Shannon here with Got to Go Prepared, and we're going to talk about archery a little bit. I love archery, really like primitive archery. I got where I was shooting my compound bow a lot when I was a kid and had it. Still have the same compound bow that I had when I was a kid. It's a Bear whitetail 100. It's really old. There's a lot better bows out there now, but I'm really good with it and it works just fine. And I like it, so I kept it. I just keep it updated and maintenance. But I got to where when I was practicing a lot with it, I was able to hit a lemon wheel at 30 yards and just group all my arrows into it, and which is good and it's fun. But I started leaning towards more primitive archery. I love primitive stuff, the Native American way. I got Cherokee way back in my family on my father's side out of West Virginia, area, and I just wanted to do things the old way. So I met a guy who was at a craft show, and he was building handmade bows from scratch, the old Indian way, and he really taught me a lot in how they did it, and then turned me on to some books and some different things I could learn on how to do it myself. And I've made several of those. Most of the ones I've made myself personally I ended up giving away to family and stuff for gifts and different things. Got some wood staves that I'm going to turn into a bow for myself whenever I get around to it. But I do have one I bought from a guy that I've been shooting. This is a hickory bow, and it's hickory, a little extra stronger. This is a 50-pound draw bow, and unlike a compound, when you hold it back, you're holding back 50 pounds. And it's just a shelf bow with a natural string, no sights, no anything. I love shooting this bow. I also have another one that I picked up at a antique store, believe it or not. This is really, really old antique bow, but it still shoots good for some light practicing or something. Like I said, I don't have any of the ones that I made because I give them away. But in shooting one and getting that kind of grouping, I wanted to make it more difficult and learn how to shoot that when I was a kid. Loved Robin Hood movies and all the Indians shooting the bows, and wanted to learn more about that. And during the Revolutionary War, I learned that Benjamin Franklin come out with an idea, because we were short on powder and ball against the British, to teach a large group of our American soldiers in the militia to make longbows like the Indians. The Indians in this region, the eastern woodland tribes, the Cherokee, the Shawnee, all up the coast, they carried a longer bow, whereas the natives out west carried a really short bow because they shot from horseback a lot of times. The native tribes here didn't ride horses very often. They used them more to carry stuff. But it would have been a longer bow like this. So they thought if we could teach our guys how to make the bows like the Indians did, and to make arrows that when the British were coming across unarmored, just with wool coats on, you have 100 guys lined up with arrows and bows that they made, launching 100 arrows, and you can get 3 arrows in the air just with minor training before the first one hits. If you're good, you can get more of them in the air before the first one hits. So imagine you got a 60-yard range of a Brown Bess rifle that the British are carrying that are not very accurate, and you got 100 guys lined up in the forest line shooting arrows, and you have 300 or 400 arrows come flying down on top of them with no armor. They don't even have to make tips on it. All you do is fire harden a tip to get it to go right through the wool. Well, as luck would have it, the French stepped in and helped us out there, so we never had to do the bows. But it was an interesting fact that Franklin had come up with that idea. So if there was ever a situation where you run out of bullets or a gun, if you know how to make a bow and make an arrow and know how to shoot it decently, then you can still hunt and feed yourself or protect yourself in a situation like that. And that's why I like the archery and the bows. It's you make it yourself. I also took an old tackle box and kind of painted it up, and this is my archery tackle box. Some random things I keep in here. I keep some matches, a lighter, a pen, some instant ways to make fletching, some wax, some broadheads, different broadheads, an old knife, glove, first aid kit, some string. just some random little basics I need to fix my arrows and take care of myself if I'm out on the range. And my dog is barking, and ironically, he is barking at the guy that is bringing the bark training collar for him. But that's what I keep in my little archery box. A couple books that the guy turned me on to that I had learned about how to make the bow were the Traditional Bower's Bible. You can see that. There's actually 3 volumes, 1, 2, and 3, that all will take you step by step and teach you how to make your own long bows, recurve bows, self bows, what terminology and how to do it. And that's really where I got the detailed, and then actually doing it myself. I had a guy challenge me one time to make a bow, see how quick I could do it. Arrows take a little bit longer and a little finesse, and we'll do another video on arrows sometime because it's a little bit more complicated to do those. And in another video, I may show some step-by-step on how to make a bow and work it down. But what I did is I found a hickory tree, cut it down. All I had was my hatchet and my knife and a shoestring. I split that out, worked the wood down, used my shoestring to string it, and the guy loaned me one of his arrows that were already made, and I was able to hit a stump accurately at about 15 yards, so I could take down small game pretty quick, or in a self-defense situation if I was had to use that and could separate myself from whoever was after me for some reason, which I hope that never happens. I'd be able to put that bow together pretty quick and be able to protect myself as well. But archery is so cool. There's so many aspects to it. What we're going to do now is take a minute, and I'm going to shoot a couple arrows out of that bow and to show you how it is. It's pretty lightweight. Once you unstring one of these bows, you can slide it in something of this nature. This is actually for a shotgun. You see that? I think the Condor makes it. Strap it on, or you can molly it onto the side of a pack and put a rifle or shotgun in that. I've got arrows in it. You can actually unstring this and strap it to the side, strap it all to your go bag, and have some of that with you already. I try to incorporate sometimes a way to have some of these materials with me in my bag to be able to do this. So like I said, my knife and hatchet and some paracord, and I can put a bow together pretty quick. Don't have it on me right now, but I have a small dog tag that has an arrowhead in it that you can just punch out and make an arrowhead, and a small credit card size one in one bag that has about 6 arrowheads in it that you can punch out. And it's called the arrow card. You've probably seen them online. You can look them up and find them. But we're going to stop the video real quick, get set up, and shoot a few arrows with this self bow right here. Hey guys, we're going to shoot a couple arrows here with this bow. Here we go. All right, let's go up there and see where they're at. Okay. I don't practice every day with this like I should. I'd really love to. This time of the year in the fall, I get the bug to want to get out and shoot the bow. I should do it more often. But that was about 15 yards, which wasn't a great distance with a 50-pound bow. And you can see that is no sight, so it's just instinctive shooting. It's not dead on, but I'm in my target area on those. And you can see I'm using just regular fiberglass arrows with practice tips. But it takes a lot of practice to get really good with a bow, especially one without sights. You start to learn where to pull it back from, where to hold it. And I do more with these kind of bows in instinctive shooting, but the more you do it, the muscle memory, and you just get better at shooting. I recommend if you're going to shoot a traditional longbow or a traditional self bow or anything like that, you practice quite a bit. It's one of those skills that if you quit doing it, yeah, you'll remember how and it'll come back, but it kind of diminishes over time. And I don't shoot near as off as much as I would like to. But I'd recommend, if you're doing it, teach your kids to do it. There's a lot of great, even movies maybe your kids would get excited about, with the Hunger Games, the girls shooting the arrows. Get a lot of kids excited about archery. Teach your kids, your spouse, talk about it. It's a great thing, and it's really fun to do in competition or hunting or just for fun. So in future videos, we're going to talk a little bit more about archery and maybe how to build your own bow. I want to talk about that some too, and maybe go over a few minor basics. Not much I can tell you about this bow as far as a review. A guy I know made this and wanted me to try it with the backing on it. I really like it. Some of the ones that I do, I don't back them. I use different woods. Hickory is a great wood. Excuse me. That the native people around here used hickory. They used ash. They used Osage orange. Osage orange, very hard wood. It's the hedge apples or the horse apple trees, big orange, green things that roll all over your yard and mess everything up. They're kind of a nuisance, really. But if you can find a straight piece of wood with one of those trees to make a bow out of, you will get a very strong bow that will last a long time. I read an article where somebody had found one of those bows in a cave that was really old. String was gone, of course, but the bow could still be strung and used. It was that hard and that good. The grain on them are very snaky, and you have a lot of curves in them, so they're hard to work. But you work your skills up on making stuff out of hickory and ash, and work your way up to working one of those kind of bows, and you can really get a beautiful bow with it'll last you a lifetime with Osage orange. I do have some Osage orange that I've had cured for years and have never jumped into it. I would probably have to have a powerful sander or bandsaw to work it at this point, but one day when I got time, I'm gonna delve into that. And I got a nice piece of ash that I'm gonna work on. With the ash wood is a very good wood too, good grain on it as well. But so not much I could say about this other than the types of woods, natural string fibers, arrows. I'm just using these are arrows from Walmart. Just good practice arrows. If you're really going to get into making your own arrows, there's a lot of different things you can do there, and we'll go into that on another video. It's a little bit more complex than making a bow, I believe. You can make some quick ones, but to really get some good arrows, it takes a little bit of time. But anyway, that's it today. Get out and learn about archery, and maybe check out those books. You can find them at your local library or order them online on Amazon, and look into it and really get out there and give it a shot. You'll have a lot of fun if you enjoy archery. Thanks. Remember, you got to go prepared, because you just never know.